Hello YouTube, it is Championdjk coming at you again with another Diecast video, and today we're going to take a look at this Inno64 Nissan Skyline 2000 GTR, which is I guess like a third generation Skyline, the Hakosuka, and what I guess would be the first generation GTR, right? Something like that. I'm not really well versed in Skyline history or Nissan's history or whatever. However, we are going to look at this, and I decided to make a video about this car by itself, and the reason why I did is because so many other brands have basically, done this car, done a third-gen Skyline, and I thought it would be fun kind of just to take a look at this and see how Inno did this in comparison to all the other options that are out there when you're going to get this car. It always interests me when someone, when diecast companies put out a car that's been done by a lot of companies already, and then seeing, is this the ultimate one? Is this going to be the best one for your collection if you are a fan of this car? And that's kind of where I'm at here, and that's what we're going to take a look at today. I've got a bunch of different versions or brands that have made essentially a version of this car. They're not all going to be the same. They're not all the GTR version, and, there's quite a bit of difference in some of them, so I can't say they're identical and it's exactly the same. So if you are a Skyline fan, maybe you're going to want all of them. I don't know. We're going to set that there for just a second. The first thing, of course, we can look at is we have a mainline Hot Wheels right here. So this is essentially pretty much the same car. It's a little bit. This is obviously got some Hot Wheels flair to it. But it is a Nissan Skyline GTR, what have you. It's got the intercooler up front and all that stuff. That's not there in the stock vehicle, but there you go, right there. You can take a look. This one's got some taillight detail. It's got the graphics on the side. This was a regular of this, which was the Super Treasure Hunt. Got to flex that a little bit. Found this one actually in the store, which is pretty rare for me. But I was able to score this one in the store, so that's really fantastic. But yeah, very cool looking Super Treasure Hunt. But this is like your Hot Wheels. So this is like our baseline little dollar model. Well, obviously this one's worth more than $1. But this Hakosuka or whatever Skyline. The copyright date in this casting is 2011. I was going to say 2012 debut for the casting. This one obviously didn't come out in 2012, but there you have it there. So Hot Wheels, right? So Hot Wheels is good. It's a basic model. It's pretty sweet. They did the Super Treasure Hunt. They did the regular, and then they also did the RLC version of it, which I've got in here, just so I don't load it up with fingerprints. This thing's model's pretty special too. They did it in this all chrome, which is really, really neat. And this would be the updated version, 1972 Nissan Skyline HT 2000 GTR. So this one we can see doesn't have that Hot Wheels stuff going on in the front. It's just got a stock front end, and there you go. You got taillights. This one also has an opening hood feature showing a detailed engine. So this is actually a very, very nice version of this car, I would say, when the hood shuts right. But we always have this little bit of fit and finish issue sometimes with the opening parts models. Yeah, I'm just trying to get that to sit down perfect. I'll have to work on that off camera. It was better before I opened it. Right there. Anyway, we're going to set that one aside. So we got two different Hot Wheels versions, and what should we look at next? Well, we've got maybe Greenlight. That would be another. Is this the Greenlight one? Yeah, this is the Greenlight one. So here's your Greenlight. Same gen, right? GTR. Got a little paint issue up here in the front. This one does have the mirrors as well. There's a look at that. Take a look at the engine in here. Pretty well detailed. For a Greenlight, that's actually quite good. Got a lot of little details in there. It'd be nice to, actually, we should keep the hood open on this one because we will. See, who do you think did the engine better? Now, the Inno64 we're about to look at did not... I think the Greenlight's actually better in this case. Does not have an opening part. So I think these are actually the only two that have an opening hood. This way, here we go. Actually, no, it's not, because we have M2. So M2 machines also did this generation of Skyline. There you go there. GTR. This one does not have the little spoiler on the back. Here's a look at that. So you can see, like, all the brands kind of did it very similar. The engine in here, though, wow, like, that is, yeah, not very detailed in comparison to the Greenlight. So these would be the fairest comparison here, because they're going to be the same, basically the same price. Scale-wise, the Greenlight is a lot shorter. I would guess the Greenlight's actually very close to 1/64 scale, but we'll figure that out as soon as we get this one open, because I'm guessing this is going to be right on 1/64. But yeah, engine detail. If we're going on engine detail winner, that is definitely going to be, I think, the Greenlight, second Hot Wheels, and then you got this M2, which just isn't pretty at all. Taillight detail, if you want to look at that too, between these models. Definitely think the Greenlight has a little bit of an edge over the M2, but I think the Hot Wheels probably looks the cleanest in regards to that. Well, we'll leave those hoods open for a moment. Oop, and I just broke off a mirror. Whoopsie daisy, and I barely touched it, and I just snapped a mirror off. That's unfortunate. Well, maybe I can glue that back on, or maybe we just won't bother. All right, so there's that. And then we got this one here. This is a Tomica Premium model. This didn't come out all that long ago. This one's got inserted details for headlights. There's your taillights. No wing on this one either. This one does not have an opening hood, but does have opening doors. This one also has plastic tires, plastic base, suspension. So far, too, the only one, there's two that have been all metal, and that's the Greenlight and the Hot Wheels RLC model. So right now, those are my favorite, too. I think Greenlight still, I think Greenlight did a decent job on this. I think they did a fair job on just this basic model. I think it looks okay. I think it definitely looks a little better than the M2, and I think it, you know, actually might be my favorite one so far. All right, and then we've got this. This is a Dido. I didn't have this one in like silver, but this is a Dido, like I think they're made by the same company as Kyosho. I'm not really sure. It's Dido, limited edition. I think these came in like a little kit. You had to put them together. This one has a racing livery to it, and you got like that intercooler thing in the front. So this is very like Hot Wheels style up here in the front. So pretty cool there. Had to grab this one out. This one has a plastic base, rubber tires, metal body. It's a cool little piece. And before, these were like commonplace being made by every diecast manufacturer. This thing commanded a pretty good premium in price. And I would assume now maybe it's a little bit down because, you know, just because. Scale-wise, this thing seems the smallest. It's actually maybe right on par. Yeah, with the Greenlight. It's basically the same size as the Greenlight. Again, the M2 is a little bit bigger. Be interesting to see when we get this out, how that compares in size. All right, we do have a couple more yet. So we know that this is going to be 1/64 scale. This is a 2000 GT, not a GTR. So this is going to be very, very stock. Box is kind of ruined on this one, but let's go ahead and pull this open. So this is not going to be like, this is not the GTR, right? So this is just a third-gen Skyline, done by Tomica Limited Vintage, which we know does a very excellent job making premium die-cast, making it look really nice and have a ton of details. So there you go, 2000 GT. We got inserted details for headlights. And the taillight's going to be slightly different as well because it's not the GTR version of the vehicle. It's also a 4-door and not a 2-door. So it's a bit different. So this is maybe not a fair comparison, but it's Tomica Limited Vintage, the only one I had that was close enough to look at. So I'm just taking a look at scale because it should be about the same length, width, and all that jazz. Pretty much right on with the Greenlight. Pretty much right on with the Greenlight, and then by default, pretty much right on with the Dido. So pretty cool little model. Definitely not the GTR. Maybe not something we should be comparing here because this is on kind of a level of its own, being that it's just a stock Skyline. Which also, I think, what did Matchbox made theirs too. So I should have maybe got out the Matchbox stock Skyline to take a look at. So I think they did this one right too. So, but we don't have it out, and that's okay. But there would have been a Matchbox too. So this one is Carnell 64. Now this is essentially a Kyosho. This is going to be, I think, what's going to be our closest comparison in quality to what we're going to get with the Inno64. Now, these were kind of an upscale Kyosho. They're not very easy to find, at least here in the U.S. I don't know how easy they are to find elsewhere. They come in a box like that, kind of standard thing, very, very close to what we're going to get with the Inno. And then they are screwed down to a base. Nissan Skyline GTR KPC GC10 custom version. And you can see this is a KPC GC10. Doesn't say custom on it, but there you go. So let's go ahead and open up this model. Now, up until this Inno64, I would say this is my most probably expensive and coolest model of this era Skyline. But we shall see if it's going to get dethroned now by the Inno64. So we got the mirrors that we know we have to be careful with because we just broke one off of the M2, which I may try to glue. I don't know. It's going to be tough. This one's got a plastic base, metal body. We got these very nice looking wheels and tires. We got Carnell up in the front. Bumper's not quite on completely 100% straight. This is like the bumper and the little the lip here in the front is an add-on piece. But we do have inserted details for headlights and a little bit for the taillights too. The more you look at this one, it's not really perfect. It's got a little bit of issue. It's like a little bit of fit and finish issue. But it's a very cool model nonetheless. And it looks really nice. I mean, it looks nice from a side profile. I think it looks really, really good. I mean, honestly, though, like, scale-wise, we're looking at about the same as the Greenlight and stuff like that. It might be a little wider, but lengthwise, it's about the same. And I guess we're going to have a similar thing going on here, yeah. So, and what does it say in the base? Does it say Carnell on the bottom? No, it says Kyosho on the bottom. So, yeah. Proof of my point there that this is a Kyosho tooling. Looks like it had a little issue during the riveting process in the back there. Whoops, tool slipped off there. But nonetheless, it's a very cool little version of the car, and I think it's really neat. Gosh, bang for the buck though. The more I'm like checking out the Greenlight, I mean, it's not bad. Is there a reason why it should be bad? Is it bad? I don't know. I mean, proportionately, it's maybe not perfect. I'm seeing some things the more we look at it, like the gap between the roof line and the line where the door is much shorter or squished down than it is on this one. I don't know what's necessarily more correct, but looking at the Inno64, and I'm going to guess that Inno's is correct. Maybe Inno's is much... that this is much more accurate than the Greenlight. All right, let's get to the main event then. Let's open up the Inno64. I love Inno64. They do a great job on the castings that they do. They don't put out a ton of stuff every year, ton of new toolings every year in comparison to some other brands like Mini GT and stuff like that. But when I get their models, I usually am quite pleased with them. So this Nissan Skyline 2000 GTR, Inno64. Again, this one is screwed down to the base, so we will have to remove a screw, just like the Carnell that we just looked at. It's Carnell / Kyosho. This one wants to roll, but it's not really rolling all that well. Yeah, it's kind of, the wheel's kind of stuck in there. So these are screwed together. If I loosen up this screw a little bit, I bet you I can get this sucker to roll. Or just by moving it back and forth for a while, I bet you it will roll. So, the newer toolings have metal bases, and this is no exception. It's got a metal base, screwed on, and yeah, this does not disappoint. Right away, I can tell, like, the premium feel of this is just nicer than the other things that we've looked at so far. The way the taillights are done on these models, I don't really care for that much. They do like a chrome piece with a paint situation, and I think that's kind of how they're done, except for the Tomica Limited Vintage, which is not really comparable because it's a different taillight. But all of them are doing this, like, they put the chrome in, and then they paint the chrome red, and that does kind of pull it off, but I do wish it had, like, an actual transparent plastic piece in there. Well, and then again, Greenlight kind of did the opposite, where they did the main colors, the red plastic piece, and then they painted the silver, or chrome around it, whatever. I don't know. All right, scale. It's pretty much bang on with the Greenlight. Pretty much, except for you do see that there is a gap, the bigger gap between, like, this looks a little bit more squished down than this one. And so I'm guessing that's definitely more accurate. But overall, I mean, this thing looks really good and really detailed. It looks like we do have some disc brakes in there, both sides. Yeah, with calipers. It's kind of hard to see through the rim, but they are there. Rolling wise, I mean, this doesn't, the wheels are rubbing, but you're not going to, like, race this down a track anyway. And like I said, if you loosen this screw just slightly, I bet you these wheels would stop the rub and roll pretty good. Yeah, I mean, as far as the detail and spoiler goes, it's definitely the best that I've seen. They even got, like, the little gap right there. I mean, I think that looks really good. So I'm going to definitely say the Inno takes the cake for the best looking one, the best, most accurate one. If you want just, like, bang for your buck stuff, I think the Greenlight's pretty solid. I mean, it's a little bit proportionately off from what I'm guessing, but it doesn't really deter it from looking kind of cool. So I think it's pretty good. So bang for your buck. I mean, the Greenlight's probably going to be actually out of all these, probably the least expensive, except for a mainline Hot Wheel. That's going to be less expensive. Obviously, the Super is going to be tough to get a hold of, and obviously the ROC model is expensive to begin with. But if you like your Hot Wheels, that's what to get. If you're a big fan of this car, though, I wouldn't recommend anything but the Inno, really. I mean, just get the Inno. Spend the money on the Inno. It's probably like $20, $25, something in there. If you want the stock version, obviously go for a Tomica Limited Vintage. That's going to be around the same price probably as the Inno. I'm guessing this casting. The Carnell, pretty cool, but not really, I don't know, worth trying to go after. I don't think when you can get something like this, you're likely going to find this, and it's going to be cheaper than getting this. And of course, the M2 model. Well, we broke a side mirror on it. Other than that, I mean, it's not a terrible looking model from the side profile. What's under the hood, they probably just should have left it shut. I don't think there was a point in putting an engine in there with the way that looks. That's just my opinion. But it's not too bad. This thing ain't too bad either. And then, of course, we got your Tomica Premium. This is a pretty cheap model. It's a nice looking one, too. If you collect this type of Skyline, well, then, yeah, get them all. Try to find them all. Try to find more. Try to find brands that I don't have. I know that there's a Pop Race that just came out or is coming out that's got, like, it's a little bit wild with a motor sticking out through the hood, stuff like that. That's a little crazy. I don't think I'm going to get that one. Maybe I will. I don't know. But I wanted to do a video on this just because I like this car. It's this and the Ken Mary are my two favorite, like, Skylines. I like the old school ones a little bit better than the newer ones, and I just think that they have a little more cool, like, vintage flavor. I like them. And so I kind of collect it, and I just thought it'd be cool to do a video showing you, I guess, my little collection of them, and, you know, getting your thoughts. So let me know in the comments below. All right, thanks for watching this video, guys. Have a great day.